Welcome to Citizens Dialogue. Today we'll go beyond the noise to unpack the real issues shaping our politics, our nation, and our economy as a people. Now let's bring you up to speed with the trending issues. Obi Amechi visit Kwankwaso ahead of ADC defection. APC accused of using Wike to undermine PDP. Just attack. Governor speaks from armored vehicle amid tension. Tension in South Africa over alleged Igbo king coronation. I am Kasitoni, and we will be right back after this break. Stay with us. Joining us now to unpack these headlines is our political analyst, King Jalot. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me, Kasitoni. It's my pleasure being here.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
All right, so yesterday we understand that Kwankwaso has defected from NNPP to ADC, yes. And then he was received by Obi and Amechi and other David Mark and other delegates from ADC. What do you have to say about that?
Well, we could see full clarity. You know, yesterday we were persuading, saying maybe there's a possible move concerning now. Nigerians have seen the reality of it. That if there is a merging between Obi and Kwankwaso, that it will be a good, good building for Nigeria. Now, if you look at the primary of the ADC is not yet out, and the Kwankwaso current defection is a sign that look, there is positivity within the ADC. That is, if escalation pertaining some high-profile personas there does not escalate. You understand what I'm saying? Because we still have the likes of Atiku, Amechi, and every high stakeholders there. But,
when you say it does not escalate, what do you mean by that?
Yes, if their plans does
like
not,
future issues.
Yes, does not come up, because I am not still assured. You understand? Even Peter Obi himself has made full clarity. I can recall where he went to women forum in Abuja, I think, and also somewhere in the East, telling them that he is not even sure of gaining primaries in the ADC. So there is still some kind of doubt.
But don't you think this would have been the right time, like the best time for him to defect to another party, rather than still remaining, since you already know that the possibility of him getting the ticket is not even guaranteed? Then don't you think it's the best thing for him to go to another party?
That is why most times in political forums it is best the public should give the public a leverage to always interfere in political forum. That is when I mean giving them a leverage. That is, the public, the citizens should also be able to ascertain, partake in every political forum, so that they will choose their best candidate. Example, you know that every political forum in Nigeria has somebody that is members, full members. Okay, look at the PDP, the convention that Wike claim he had. You could see the number of people. Now imagine in the ADC now, such number of people, such mob come together and say, okay, this is who and who we want. I think there will be a genuity when an individual is given a flag bearer in a party system, rather than high stakeholders will be the one volunteering, or the president of the political
consensus
party. Yes, you understand. So it should be heard by the masses. It should be heard by supporters, not inward individuals, not partakers of that political party, so that there will be fairness. Because for my observation and for transparency's sake, Nigerians want Obi to be the flag bearer of ADC. I'm telling you the fact. So any other person say they want to award the party to the north, to the south, that they are just doing it they just want their voice to be heard.
All right, Ojalo, let me get something straight. He said they want to award the party to the south, to the north, but then the ADC has made it clear that they want the ticket to be open to everyone to pick. They want the ticket to be open, so they don't have any specific region that they are zoning the ticket to.
When they mean everyone, are they talking about the general public? Are they talking about membership? That is example.
I think they are talking about them picking a flag bearer. They want it open so the public can actually vote.
Exactly. That is why I mentioned earlier. That is why I talked about. That's why I mentioned earlier. Transparency. Let there be transparency, so that those who, because just like I said, it's what the people want that should flow. You understand? Political parties are in Nigeria are fond of contesting within themselves, and in that action, definitely there are leverages whereby the person who Nigeria might not really pick or might not desire to have will be the one to emerge as the flag bearer. Example, look at in 2020, I think when Buhari became a president I think for the second time, when Obi and Atiku, definitely most Nigerians, most especially Easterners, they proclaimed, they said it would have been better Obi becomes the flag bearer of the PDP as a then rather than being Atiku's vice. Okay. But he came out and it was silent that way. You understand? So that was what Nigeria expected this previous election, 2023. You understand? So you let it not be as if, because at first Nigerians will say, oh, Obi being in ADC is a mistake, is a this, is a that, regardless of the issue that happened in the Labour Party. Wike said it yesterday that Obi, he has reasons why he has been jumping from one party to the other is because he doesn't have what it takes to be a leader. But if you look at it, that statement, he just want Nigeria to lose confidence. But the
Wike himself, does he have what it takes to be a leader?
Exactly, by trying to cause chaos in party PDP. So what am I trying to say is there should be transparency in this ADC coalition. Now that Kwankwaso has been welcomed with full gratitude by high stakeholders in ADC, let us see transparency. It is high time a flag bearer emerge. This giving hope to Nigeria, seeing high stakeholders, trying to giving one, creating one forum or the other, merging and thereabout that we must unseat President Tinubu unseat. It's not by talking. It's not by having different coalition from different political party. Now, there's no time for that. It's about setting up your mandate in using your political platform to create a flag bearer on time. Look at the APC that Nigerians are the whole of Nigerians are criticizing the whole of. See how well organized they are. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Atiku does not, Tinubu, our president, is not even shaking because with all this confusion here and there.
Because they are organized, because they are in the ruling party and they have the backing
of some institution.
Yes, so that's why they are organized. Otherwise, they will be like other parties. Now, very quickly on this particular discussion, you're talking about Kwankwaso defecting to ADC and then saying that, oh, it's going to be Obi Kwankwaso. We have Atiku, we have Amechi, and we also have Peter Obi in this ADC. Now, Kwankwaso defecting to ADC, is he defecting because he wants this Obi Kwankwaso merger to be
a reality?
Yes, or he's defecting because probably, you don't know, he might be Amechi Kwankwaso or Oti Kwankwaso. We're not really certain if it's going to be Obi Kwankwaso. There's a merger to be reality. That is
what I'm saying. You see, this is where democracy will showcase itself. You understand? ADC should allow democracy to showcase itself.
But is it affecting because you want to be Kwankwaso to be a reality?
Of course, that is part of it. And also, Kwankwaso's defection is a coalition. If you could recall where he came out when he was in NNPP, rather, before the so-called ugly crisis that happened within themselves and the so-called betrayal day that they had. He has always, also had a merger with the ADC right from time. So he has fully brought it out on the open so that Nigerians will see that, look, I am no more hiding behind bars anymore. I am now for ADC, and I tend to, carry on a mandate that really, really benefit Nigerians by, either being for or being with. What I mean is that either is going to come out as the vice president or the president. But let's state the fact here. Kwankwaso currently is not mandating himself to become president, but rather a vice.
To who? Is it to Atiku, to Amechi,
to Peter Obi?
Okay, so it's Obi Kwankwaso.
Of course.
Because Kwankwaso has a lot of supporters in the north, in Kaduna to be precise. He has a lot of Kwankwaso.
And if you check it, the motive of his supporters, many of them are not even aspiring Kwankwaso to be president. But when there's a coalition with him and Peter Obi, because if you look at even Kwankwaso supporters, what they call them? Kwankwasias. They are even still mandated Peter Obi. If you check the rally, you see them with Peter Obi's billboard. And so you should see that is a clear fact that indeed Kwankwaso and Peter Obi is an estimated merging that will really, really bring this so-called ADC to life. So anybody trying to, persuade Atiku, I think they should really make the man believe it. Look, he should rest for the meantime. time, because rather than going to campaign and do all of this, wasting funds, why don't I use that funds to, you know, support some amenities Nigeria need currently?
All right, very away from that, so still on Amechi, you know, you brought up Wike's you brought up Wike's discussion to the table, and we're actually going to tackle it right away. You know, critics are saying that APC used Wike to destroy PDP. How true is this allegation? Even though the APC are rejecting this allegation, they are saying no, but it's very clear that they used him as an instrument to destroy PDP, which Wike actually allowed himself to be used.
Well, if you look at it, there has been an opening. He has come out to say that, look, he's building, not destroying. If you could recall his convention yesterday at the PDP that was held in you know, the stadium in Abuja yesterday, you will definitely see Wike's statement saying that, you know, he's building. Yes, he's building the PDP, that, you know, that Nigeria should be eye open currently, because those who has defected, you know, it shows that they don't have what it takes to be a leader, and they are not capable. That is why they don't know how to set their family in place. You understand? So Nigeria, forgetting the fact that he is the brain behind those who has defected. Let's be honest. You are coming. Okay, recently I also heard that he's having a high stake meeting with APC and you know, the APC forum, the APC that you are claiming you want to create a flag bearer and the PDP against. You can see that Wike is having a confusing state on his own, and it's unfortunate that so many Nigerians has gathered themselves to also be in the lead of confusion with Wike. From the look of from the statement of Don, you know, he has really classified it, and it's what we are at the long run have been saying times without number on this table, that indeed, even sometimes I try to argue this with my colleague who is not around, Ugochukwu, you know, is trying to give Wike wages. Let's be honest with ourselves. You know, for a man to stand and say, look, I am going to support Tinubu, who is in the APC forum, and you have gone around, most especially in your state, in Rivers State, portraying the so-called Renewed Hope movement agenda, and debating for them, campaigning for them, making sure that Nigeria stand for President Tinubu. So which flag bearer, PDP flag bearer, do you want to mandate to stand against the same person? See, sometimes discussing about Wike's case, it's more or less like a comedy. Okay. You understand? So what pains me so far is the fund is wasting on all these unnecessary, you know, debate and thereabout, thinking it's fooling Nigerians. You understand? So I think you know, some high stakeholders, you know, likes of Bode George, even Dixon, has come out, you know, that, you know, his ministerial affair and also being part of some issues that pertain to AADC is a way of, you know, making sure that the PDP becomes crop for his own benefit in the future. That is what he's doing right now, and that is what this man is trying to tell us. He has successfully allowed APC to use him against, or not against, to make sure he cripple those who really wants to use PDP platform to do the actual thing that democracy require. You understand? He has successfully allowed himself to be used. But nevertheless, if you look at Wike's stand right now, he still want to keep PDP to himself for future purpose. That is what most Nigerians don't know. So if God willing, our dear Seyi Makinde will be able to make sure PDP does not fall into the well. That is when Nigerians the PDP supporter who has been behind it for a very long time will start having faith in it, because currently the party is more or less gone. All right, thank you so much, Mojalo.
In your analysis, I was listening to you correctly. You mentioned that during the PDP meeting in the convention, Wike mentioned that he is building PDP. Now, for someone that he's building the PDP and he wants to produce presidential candidates come 2027.
Yes.
For someone who wants to produce presidential candidates, and at the same time, you said he's having closed-door meeting with delegates from APC, and he has given his full support to APC come 2027. He's going around campaigning for the Renewed Hope agenda. Yes. How is that going to be possible if, one, he wants to rebuild PDP and then bring up presidential candidates, and at the same time he's giving his support to the President Tinubu, and then he is having closed-door meetings with APC delegate. He's going about the renewed hope. How is he going to succeed in this too? Because it seems he's holding two things to climb ladder, which is not possible. If you want to climb ladder, you either climb with your two hands or you don't even hold anything at all. But him holding two things, how is he going to succeed in getting to the top? And then you also talked about he wants to keep the party PDP to himself. What will he gain in keeping the party to himself?
Let's be honest. We know Wiki has, is one of those who really made the party where it has been. But if you recently is now the one who wants to cripple the same party that it took time to build at the long run. You understand, which is an unfortunate thing. He nominated for Fubara through the same platform, and he's still the one who played the role for Fubara to defect to the APC. You can see now on the aspect of renewed hope movement in the APC, and you are trying to nominate a candidate to be a flag bearer. You see, it's just is more or less trying to claim a sense to the face of Nigerians. You understand? As I see, to me, I think we come to a time where we realize that, look, I have made the greatest mistake of my life. You understand? Trusting the current administration at first, that is one of the biggest mistakes, because we are all humans. So when the president knows he has highly been criticized because he knows the shape of his administration is not in accordance to the people.
But he doesn't want to accept the fact.
He doesn't want to, but most times he recognizes them. That is the good part. Now, Wike, he's just been in a conflict because it's not possible. Just the question you asked me. There's no possibility whereby he will create, it's just a tune. That is, he just want to play to the game. Let Nigeria see that I am working. You understand? It might successfully bring out a candidate, but at the long run, behind scene, it will make sure say, look.
The candidate doesn't win.
The candidate doesn't win. You understand? And that was what still happened in the time of Atiku and Buhari when he came back the second time, when Buhari became elected as president the second time. If you look at it, they play to that gallery. So that is what Nigeria democracy has been suffering for a very long time. They are behind scene, they tend to play to the gallery of a great coalition or a great opposition, so that Nigerians will see that, okay, this was what was what. You understand?
Right.
So that is what Wike is doing, and in the future, definitely he will still be the one to antagonize the same people he's mandating for, to make sure that PDP tends to come back to life after
for his benefits.
For his own benefits.
Okay, thank you so much, Ojalo. Very quickly, we'll move to Jos, that's Plateau State, where the governor of Plateau was seen talking to his people from an armored vehicle. Like, is he afraid of dying? Because he pledged loyalty to his people. He promised them to their safety and so on and so forth. Now we're seeing a governor talking to his own people from armored vehicle. If I was the people, I would keep acting like I wasn't even hearing anything that he's saying. Exactly.
I really like that last statement. Exactly. But you see, one thing is about the people and the other is for the leader. You see, Mafuag, the governor of Plateau State, it's when I stated it yesterday that, look, this governor shows is a clear fact that indeed, there is no working governor in the state of Jos. I knew what I was saying. A governor who cannot address the current situation that has unraveled an institution and also a particular community. There's a popular picture roaming the internet now of a woman who held her dead son from that incident currently that happened in Jos. Is really pumping the internet. It shows a governor who really, you see, when I talked about, Nigeria should be now wide eye open now to know those who can really stand for them in times of crisis. First of all, governors who has defected should be governors who should not be trusted in anything, and he is part of them. He defected from the PDP, a platform that brought you into power, to the APC. Tell me how then will he want to stand even with the crisis the people are suffering? Definitely, he is a governor that should not be trusted. So he too doesn't trust himself. He knows that where he's standing to address the situation that happened, a straight bullet might come from nowhere. So that is why he hit this a governor.
So it's the people that are good to die.
That is it. So you see, to all states whose governor defected, just have it in mind that, look, your governors should not be trusted. Every state, Nigeria should have this in mind. That is just it. Really akin to that word of Wike yesterday, it's very clear. For what the man said was definitely true. So it is a fact that currently Plateau State does not have a working governor. As a matter of fact, does not have a governor that should be relied on. So even the popular content creator, VDM, very dark man, he was in this scene and told them, I was watching this video and he said, I think we should all not rely on our so-called governors and leaders anymore. Please, whatever you have to protect yourself. But what very dark man fails to realize is, look, if people start carrying ammunitions and harm to protect themselves, there may be chaos, terrible chaos. People want to, the ignorance that is within Nigeria as civilians. No, start advising them to carry arms to protect themselves. They might start killing one another rather than killing the so-called X-Men or bandit. But the long run for what he stated was like, look, protect yourself, be vigilant now. He was also talking to the Minister of Defense, Musa, who was seen, in a APC convention campaign when you are supposed to, oh my God, when you are supposed to be on the front line.
He has to be there to protect the president.
Protect with president. Does the president does not have a security guard? Ahmed, can you count the number of
that's
SS
what
and DSS personnel surrounding the president?
That's
when you are supposed to be in your office addressing all service chiefs that, look, I am assigning you to so and so. You see, when I see that was that the other one, this CDS came out the other time that bandits should be spared and they should be rehabilitated. The killing, the rapid shootings that happened, did they spare anybody? An eyewitness said it that, look, the way these people came out and start opening fire mercilessly on civilians, you will see that. Just as the former chief of army staff stated by the name, I've forgotten, he said that these so-called leaders, they have full details about this bandit. I think I'm beginning to believe that part. I have stated the times without number. Even the clerics, Gumi, have stated it. What else does Nigeria need to hear before the Nigerians themselves will take action?
The former
it's unfortunate that our leaders are working hand to hand.
Bringing this up, he is not without guilt, because before Olufemi came into power, he was already in power. So what did he do in the office? What did he do when he was on seat? He didn't do anything clearly, so he shouldn't be pointing fingers. He should first remove the one from his eye before he wants to remove from another person.
Yes, and in addition to that, I think if Nigeria can go to that state, because if you look at Libya now, it is hard for you to just come to any community and want to kill. As a matter of fact, these so-called bandits can't even go to the country of Libya to carry on their operations, because civilians there, they will finish them up. People are they sell weapons as if they sell biscuits. Imagine that kind of a scenario start happening in Nigeria. What else? I think this so-called nonsense of bandit killing will stop. So I think it's up to our people and up to our service chief to do the needful. These so-called governors are not doing what it takes to protect lives. There should be state of emergency in place like that from this north central up to the northwest and northeast. All
right, coming up next is tension in South Africa. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Still on the show, Citizens Dialogue. There's rising tension in South Africa where the Igbos are trying to coronate a king in the Cape Town, where they want to coronate one Solomon Obonaya.
Yeah, Eastern Cape.
Yes, and there was a protest by the South Africans.
I think we Nigerians should learn how to mind our business, and I think we should learn how to appreciate what we have. This so-called most times if I want to direct most of my hate speech, sometimes I tend to direct it to still the same Southeasterners I usually persuade to do the needful. I think from the look of what most Southeasterners, royal families are doing is unfair and is uncalled for. They should stop bringing bad reputation to this country and bad names. How can I think what by the name the Igbo king, Igwe, Indigbo, or what they call themselves, leave their own country, leave their own district and start going to another country? It's against, as a matter of fact, it's against the world constitution. Leaving your own country, going to form royalty in another country is more or less you are coming to hijack a particular country that you are not even among the forefathers of. your forefather is not from there. So I think there should be a forum or an organization that will have to stand against any so-called wealthy royal family from the East, because this is not the first time it's happening. This is the reason why Ghanaians are chasing Nigerians back to their country. There was a protest in Ghana, I think last month, where one Eze Indigbo by the name of Austin or so was making an Igbo coronation in another mass country. This is where the government of Nigeria should come in and stop because the Igbos are fond of doing these things, and it's bringing bad reputation to this country, and it should be stated very clear. You understand? You are Nigerians, you should stop going to another mass country to have a coronation. So where a king resides, and if you look at that country, is a country popularly known to be a kingship ruled nation. The Zulu nation. How can you come to another kingdom and want to claim ownership? It's wrong. You are trying to cause war.
So this coronation ceremony, the place where they are hosting this coronation, yes, is it like a region that is dominated by the Igbos? Whether
dominated by the Igbos or not, that is not Nigeria. The Igbos are, if you check out the constitution of South Africa, there is nowhere in their constitution that says, okay, this is the Igbo. It's just like in Nigeria here now. Okay, you say, okay, somewhere in Anambra State, dominated by South Africans or dominated by the Zulu people, then a Zulu man will now rise up and say, I want to make a coronation of a Zulu king in the southeast of Nigeria. How does it feel? Does it sound right? I think it's high time Nigeria realize, some certain action they do that is barbaric and is bringing bad reputation to the country. And this happened in the one major city of South Africa, for that matter, just like how Lagos and Abuja is in Nigeria. That is where you are carrying this out. What do you expect? I think the action of the people is they are indeed in their right stand. You don't have to do such. You don't take ugly laws into it. To me, this action is very ugly. And I think the Igwes and the Indigbo Igwes in the East should call every other chief and every royal family in the East to order. Make sure you stop them in carrying this act. That is why they are always having beef in Lagos. We've always had news of Lagosians say Igbo must go, Igbo must go. Why? You go to Lagos, even in Yoruba land, you see where Igbos are trying to dominate, taking ownership of some certain areas that does not belong to them, that they never even discover. I am not saying as an Igbo man, I shouldn't go to Lagos to earn a living or try to make life. We are all Nigerians. But not, come on. Will you hear in Igbo land or Anambra saying a Yoruba man is trying to come and claim a KBAC? Or I think there should be a limit to all these actions, coming from the Southeast, to stop giving themselves bad reputation. All right.
Thank you so much, Ojalo. That's where we end today's discussion on Citizens Dialogue. Many thanks, Ojalo, for
Thank you for having me, Cassie. Thank you so much.
And to you, our viewers, for tuning in. I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead. Join us next time for more breaking news across Nigeria. Do have a lovely day.